President has requested us to weigh in and approve his request to go into Syria with a limited airstrike to deal with the Assad regime as a result of the chemical weapons attack that occurred in Syria. Maybe before we get started in this conversation, I want to offer you some of my thoughts, kind of where my decision-making process has been and is going, kind of my initial thoughts as to where I think we should be. First and foremost, I have come to a conclusion that authorizing this limited airstrike is not appropriate. And if the resolution as presented that we have given you a copy to review is the resolution to vote upon, we will be voting no. And also, we will be voting no because I don't see exactly what the end game here is. What I also have is a tremendous number of questions as to how are we going to deal with the risk of escalation that I see occurring as a result of our engagement on a military front in Syria. Now, that doesn't mean that we are at a final decision. That's why I want the input from folks. I want to listen to people in the district. I want to get your input because I truly believe to represent people in Washington, you need to listen to people. And that's why we do this. And that's why we engage in this conversation. Because I want to make sure that the voice of the 23rd Congressional District is the voice that I cast when I put the card in the box and vote yes or no on critical issues facing the nation and facing the district, and making sure that that voice is heard. The issue of Syria is very complicated. It is a very dangerous situation. And I'll preface all my comments by one of the toughest things I've dealt with over the last few weeks, and the last week in particular, is when you see the images of women, children who have been gassed and killed in the manner upon which they have been. Emotionally, as a human being, you respond to that. Obviously, I respond to that. But what I have tried to do is to separate the images of that deplorable, barbaric, horrendous action and separate that from my emotional response and look at the obligation that's before us. And that obligation is to look at what is in America's interest, what is our national security interest here, and what is the path forward that mitigates and minimizes the risk to Americans, and especially our sons and daughters, when we're asked to put them into harm's way. And so that's the focus of the conversation here. There's some other handouts. I know we're handing out some kind of briefings, some news articles that we found. By no means is the exhaustive list of the issues that are faced in Syria, but just kind of some background information for you to take with you and also to continue this conversation with. Syria, right now, you got two sides in a civil war. You got the Assad regime, you got the Free Syrian Army, the opposition, the rebels, and it's clear to me that both sides are not friends of America. And when you're making decisions about going into military conflict, you got to also look at what happens, who are you siding with, what are we trying to accomplish, and to me that just hasn't been clearly laid out. And also, if we take out Assad, who do we get as a result of that power vacuum that's there? And that could be just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than what we find ourselves in today. So we'll continue to push forward. There are some paths that I think could be utilized because containing the chemical weapons is a critical piece of this equation. And there's some paths on the diplomatic. There's some paths on the reaching out to some key players, international players in this conversation with Russia and China, to try to find a path forward that resolves the situation where the chemical weapons are sort of a concession, if you would, that are taken out of Syria and placed under our control or destroyed, and that risk is mitigated. That's something I'm still exploring, still trying to develop with other members as we have this continuous conversation, but to me that seems the more prudent and practical path to take, rather than this limited airstrike that's been proposed by the President and the White House. So with that, just kind of where my thought process is, but I'm sure we're going to get into a lot of these conversations as we go forward.